Welcome to this We in Law Explainer. With the 2027 general elections creeping up on us, we literally cannot afford to go to the polls blind. The stakes are just too high. And honestly, knowledge is absolutely your best defense here. To truly protect your vote, you need to understand exactly how the system is wired to work from the ground up. So today, we're cracking open the Electoral Act 2026 to reveal the foundational blueprint of Election Day setup and administration. Look, we've all got those same relatable fears, right? What happens if there's sudden chaos, a natural disaster, or just massive confusion on Election Day? Does the whole process just completely collapse? Well, the short answer is no, absolutely not. The law actually acts as a highly reassuring blueprint to handle exactly these kinds of worst-case scenarios.
Just real quick, before we unpack all that, a reminder that this explainer comes to you from We in Law, your dedicated civic education hub. We're here to translate dense, complicated socio-legal research into clear, actionable knowledge for you. If you want to stay informed and empowered, definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future updates.
All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at 5 key pillars today: emergencies and postponements, announcing the results, the oath of neutrality, unbiased officers and security, and finally, official notice of election.
Starting with number 1, emergencies and postponements.
Section 24 is all about how the Independent National Electoral Commission, or INEC, has a legal mandate to manage crises so voters don't get disenfranchised. Let's say there's a severe security threat, a serious breach of the peace, or some kind of natural disaster making it impossible to vote safely. Under this section, INEC actually has the power to postpone the election. But, and this is a massive safeguard, the reason has to be cogent and verifiable. They can't just wake up and cancel things on a whim. They need solid, undeniable proof that proceeding is dangerous or impossible. The rules for these postponements are incredibly precise. First off, INEC has to make sure displaced folks aren't locked out of voting. If voting is already underway and chaos erupts at a polling unit, INEC must suspend the poll and pick a new date. Crucially, if an election is postponed in a specific area, no final winner can be declared anywhere else if those missing votes could sway the overall outcome. And if a candidate takes INEC to court over a postponement, the declaration of results is legally paused until the court makes a final call.
Moving on to pillar number 2, announcing the results.
We all know how election night goes. Misinformation can spread like wildfire. To shut down fake news and stop people from impersonating electoral officers, Section 25 draws a hard line on exactly who holds the authority to declare winners at every level. The law literally leaves zero room for ambiguity about who gets to speak for INEC.
Think of this like a really strict upward ladder. At the very foundation, the presiding officer announces the result at your specific polling unit. Then it steps up to the ward collation officer, then the local government or area council officer, and finally the state collation officer. Everyone has a strictly designated basket, so to speak. Nobody is legally allowed to cross the line and announce results for a level they don't personally control.
Which brings us to pillar number 3, the oath of neutrality.
A huge and completely understandable fear for a lot of citizens is having biased election officials running the show. The law tackles this head-on with a mandatory, legally binding oath. Under Section 26 and the second schedule of the Act, every single staff member, electoral officer, presiding officer, returning officer, and even security officials must swear absolute loyalty and neutrality to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The actual words they swear are so powerful: I will do right to all candidates and political parties according to law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. And this isn't just some polite symbolic gesture. The law explicitly bans them from taking bribes. If an official breaks this oath, it is a serious criminal offense, punishable under Section 124 for misconduct and dereliction of duty. Seriously, there's nowhere for corrupt officials to hide in this legislation. Taking a super quick pause here, if you're finding this breakdown of the Electoral Act helpful, and if understanding these rules makes you feel more prepared to defend your rights, hit that subscribe button. Your support directly fuels the We in Law mission to keep breaking these topics down for you. All right, pillar number 4, unbiased officers and security. Section 27 sets some very strict boundaries on who can actually run our polling units. INEC can't just appoint anyone. The Act explicitly states that no one who is a member of a political party or who has openly supported a candidate can be an election officer, period. These officials have to answer solely to the Commission, completely free from the control of any external politician. Now, this part is absolutely crucial. The law puts very tight legal leashes on the Nigerian armed forces. While INEC does request security personnel, the military's role is strictly limited to securing the delivery of election materials and protecting the officials. They are absolutely not meant to be hovering inside normal polling booths or intimidating you while you cast your ballot. Their job is logistical security, not booth supervision.
And our fifth and final pillar, official notice of election.
General elections don't just magically happen overnight, right? They run on a very strict legal countdown. Section 28 requires INEC to publish a formal notice of election across every single state of the Federation, plus the Federal Capital Territory. This notice is basically the starting gun. It tells everyone the exact date of the election and where nomination papers need to be dropped off. And the timeline here is massive, 300 days. INEC literally has to publish this notice no later than 300 days before the general election day. That's nearly a 10-month lead time, specifically designed to give political parties, candidates, and voters absolute clarity and plenty of time to get ready.
But check out the contrast here, 14 days. If there's a sudden vacancy and we need a by-election, that window shrinks drastically. For by-elections, INEC only has to give a 14-day notice before voting day. It is a super brisk, high-speed process. Because by-elections are practically a sprint, the rules are incredibly tight. Parties absolutely cannot just casually swap or substitute their candidates out. The only exception the law makes is in the tragic event of a candidate's death. If that happens, the political party gets a tiny 7-day window to run a fresh primary and give INEC a replacement. Wow, we have covered a ton of ground today. From emergency protocols and strict result ladders to the oath of neutrality and military boundaries. The Electoral Act 2026 isn't just boring legal jargon for lawyers, it's a blueprint for fairness, designed to protect you, the voter. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to defend your vote with the law? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep this blueprint in mind, stay curious, and I will see you in the next one.